In this video, I wanted to show you a little bit about how to use BCC's research databases to find sources for your research work. To get in, the databases again are subscriptions that BCC has paid for that gives you access to probably millions of articles. Magazine articles, journal articles, and newspaper articles. These are the things that would be found in my day, were found in bound periodicals that were very difficult to access. You needed to go to the library, you needed to take notes right at the library. Now you can search many of these articles, journals, magazines from the convenience of your home. As long as you have a connection to an academic library and a computer with internet access. So to get into the databases, you'll go start from BCC's homepage and get in again to library services. Databases are the second tab here. We can just try something. I was playing around with robot therapists. Okay, so I'm going to put a search term in here. Notice that the search terms that you can use for database searches are very sort of streamlined. You can't use 6 or 7 search terms as you might do in a Google search. If you try that, you won't get any hits at all. So you want to sort of simplify the search terms to 2 or 3 words, probably not much more than that. And then you can click search. Now I'm at home now, but I have already authenticated myself as a BCC user. If I hadn't done that, I would get a screen that would say put in your user ID or something like that. I can't remember exactly the wording it used. If you have your BCC Access BCC card activated as a library card, that's the barcode again on the back of the card that you would use. If you haven't had a chance to do that, if you're just taking a course here at BCC for the summer and you're regularly a student somewhere else, if you go back to this Finding and Evaluating Sources and scroll down that page, I include here the library's number that they give for occasional users, as you may be. Or if you just are a regular BCC student and haven't had a chance to activate your library card yet, you can use this number here. So anyway, let me get back to this list. So I only got 4 hits here. I can look at these. As you're scrolling through, it's a little bit of a search process. The right article isn't going to magically pop up, unfortunately, at the top of the screen. So you do have to do some sifting through these sources. This one, just looking at the title, looks much too technical. So I would skip through here. Robotic rehab, that looks like a possibility. So as I'm looking at these sources, I'm looking at a few things. One is the title of the article. I want something that seems relevant to what I'm researching and also seems understandable. I'm also going to look at where the article appeared. Technology Review is I believe, an MIT publication that's fairly understandable. So I'm going to look at that, the title of the journal or magazine where the article appeared. I'm also going to look at the length of the article. We have a variety of databases. Some databases indicate length with a page count and some use a word count. If I'm looking at a page count, 2 pages is really quite short. I may click in and look at this, but I don't know how useful it's going to be. In terms of word count, I generally won't look at articles that are less than about 1,500 words. Okay, human-centered robotics. Okay, I'm not seeing anything that's great. This is probably the best of the lot. Let's click in here. All of these are giving us PDFs. We'll try something else in a minute. So we'll click in here to see the text of the article, and it may take a second to pull it up. Actually, I think it downloaded it here. So here's the article. So this is a PDF version. Note, a PDF will look like a scanned-in version of the page. So we have the running heads, or the head at the bottom here, technology review. You have the date, you have page numbers, you have images and graphics. The other option that you'll see is HTML. An HTML version is formatted for the computer. It's one long strip of an article. You may have the choice between PDF and HTML. PDFs have the advantage of including images, which may or may not be in the HTML file. They also are often a little more readable than the HTML, which tends to be fairly small font, kind of crammed together. So here's the article. Now, if this was something that you thought you wanted to use, let's get back over here. You'd have several options. If you're working at school, say if you haven't had a chance to get your Access BCC card activated, all of these databases, if you're on a school computer, if you're in the library at Fall River or wherever, you can get into the databases without authenticating yourself. So suppose you came in to do some searching for an hour, you wanted to find as many possible sources, you weren't ready to print yet. You do have the option to email these sources to yourself, so you could click this email link, put in your own email, and send it. And then you could, later at home or wherever, when you had more time to look through and decide whether you really wanted an article, you could decide which to print or which not. If you know that this is something that you want to do, you could print it. Rather than just doing a Control P for any of these database articles, you want to look for a print format button that's going to put things in so that they'll fit on the page for you. So we can have a standard field form and just click print, and that will print things. The other options, if you set up an account within the database, you can save things, and then you can sign in, and those things will be saved, just like bookmarking. The other option that you have that I'm going to ask you to use for Essay 3 is to save links to things. Now, there's a little bit of an issue with databases and links. You might think initially that this would be the link to use. The problem with this is that the library doesn't want to automatically let anybody who's on your blog or whatever be able to click a link and get into the source. So they have to set things up so that the link that they use is going to require people to authenticate themselves before they get into the source. So what the databases have done, have set up what's called a permalink. This is a permanent link to the source that requires authentication. That's the URL you want to use on your blog. If you use this one, it will not work. It may seem to work if you check it right during that session when you're sitting right at the computer and you're signed in. But if you go home and try to check it, it won't work. What you want is the permalink. So some of the databases have these permalinks in different kinds of places. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I may have to pass on the question to a librarian. These things are changing all the time, but permalink, you click on here. This is the link that you would want to use on a blog. So you would take the title of the article, you'd remember to write it down, robotic rehabilitation, or rehab, I guess it was. You'd type on your blog, type the title of the article, you'd copy this URL and then paste it behind it in your blog window. Okay, the other thing I will point out, a very handy service that most of these databases perform for you is that they'll do the citation for you. So again, they're in different places in different databases, and not all the databases do them, I don't believe. But if you click this citation button here in Academic Search Premier, I think that's where we are, you'll get the citation. And notice they'll do it in a variety of formats. For this class, we want MLA, so you go to MLA, and this is the citation that you want. Author, title of the article, volume, point, number, date, colon, pages. The database is part of the citation, Academic Search Premier, the word web, and then an access date, and notice it automatically is filling in today's date for me. Some of the citations in some of the databases aren't 100% perfect. Sometimes I've seen ones where they don't do the capitalization properly according to MLA format. So you may have to spot check it, but this certainly is a big help. So it shouldn't be the main reason that you use the databases, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And do take advantage of that if you're doing that. So if I found this article, if I wanted to put it on my blog just to save it, wasn't quite sure if I wanted to use it, what I would do is grab the permalink and put that on the blog. And then also, while you're here, I would grab the MLA citation format and just throw that up there on the blog as well, just so I had it. I might, if I decide not to use the article, if I find some better things, you can always delete it, but you might as well get it while you have, rather than having to go back into the article just to get that. Okay. With printing, I will point out, if you print out a PDF form of the article, it will not automatically print on that what the database is. This causes students problems. They print out their sources and they forget to write down where they got the article. Note again, we go back to MLA, that the database that you searched is an important part of your citation. So if you're printing out articles, make sure to look over the printout, check to see whether the database is showing up. On the HTML format, a lot of times they'll put that citation will be down at the bottom of the page, or at the top of the page you'll have a little header that'll indicate the database that you searched. But with the PDFs especially, that isn't the case. So make sure, if you're printing things at PDFs out, make sure to just write down right on the PDF, just Academic Search Premier. The other thing is the date. If the date isn't printing on, sometimes you see the date, when you print articles, you see the date at the bottom of the page. If it isn't printing, be sure to jot down the date that you pulled that you printed it out, that you accessed the article, because that here will go on your MLA citation as your access date. Okay, so let's see. I want to show you a couple more things about, let's see, can I back arrow a couple times? No, I'm going to go over here. Okay. What comes up as the default is Academic Search Premier, but notice down here, there's another link. Now, BCC has many, many more than just Academic Search Premier as databases. On this online reference database page, grouped by subject, the librarians have grouped them together. So if you're in the nursing program, we'll cross your fingers for it for you. If you're planning on applying. The health databases would be something that down the road you'd be looking at. If you're in criminal justice, legal research here, or paralegal, this will be databases that will be helpful. Psychology students would use these social science databases if they're looking for articles. Okay, normally in English 101, the two places that I send students are to the comprehensive databases, which are general interest ones. They have some academic things as well. And then to the newspaper databases, if you have something that you think a newspaper would have covered. So if we click in comprehensive here, so we'll see Academic Search Premier is one of the options, but there are another 6 or 7 other ones. Try out some of the different databases. They have different, they'll cover different articles, but look at how many, 8,000 articles, thousands and thousands of, 8,000 periodicals. So that's the periodicals, and they'll have many, many more articles, of course. One thing I will point out, if we go back to Academic Search Premier for a minute, I did a little experiment. Remember I had done robot therapists before. If you make a small change in the search term here to robot therapy, We had 4 sources, remember. Here, robot therapy gives me 130. So do play around with search terms. Try some variations because it's amazing. I saw a presentation once when a librarian said she was looking up SUV, capital S, capital U, capital V. If she put in periods in between those, it was a real huge difference in the number of sources she pulled up. So small changes can make big differences. If you're having trouble finding sources, remember, you can always ask me. I'll do the best I can. But the librarians are handy and available to do that. There is an Ask a Librarian link on the library's homepage. You can send in an email, and they say that they'll get back to you within 24 hours. So if you're trying to find information about a certain thing, whether it's trying to find a search term for the database, or you want more general help about some suggestions about where to go to find particular information, librarians love that. It's like a game for them. So please do use them if you're having problems. Okay, so I wanted to go back here. Where did I want to go? So I showed you the variety of sources that, a variety of databases that are available. One in particular that I'd point out is Opposing Viewpoints. This is a good database if you're doing a current event or something that has clearly polarized issues. And I noticed when I was looking for some book sources, Opposing Viewpoints started as a book series and now is a database. There is a book in the Opposing Viewpoints series on robotics. So I think that we probably would have pretty good luck looking for something here. Now, if you're just searching to get ideas for different, for a research paper for sociology, say, they do have a place where you can browse issues. I wonder if robots will be one of the options here. Let's just see. Get dizzy here as I scroll. No, it's not. So let's try, go back to the top and try robots. Okay, so there are 174 journal articles about robots here. There are a number of viewpoints, which are sort of pro-con articles. They're in pairs. If you scroll down, robots are as effective as humans. You will later find another one that says that they're not as effective as humans, or humans are more effective or something. Look, 7,000 news articles, 509 magazine articles. So this is a really rich source of information about particularly current public affairs type issues. Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention. I'll go back a couple times. I don't remember how many. Okay. There also is a link, if we get into databases here, to Google Scholar. Google Scholar, I'd mentioned elsewhere, is also a good place to look for articles. The problem with Google Scholar is that it indexes, it will, you find some hits, you get some articles that look great, then you click on them and they say, yes, this article was written, send us your credit card information and we're going to charge you $138 to access the article. So a lot of times the articles that you run across in Google Scholar are hidden behind a firewall. You don't obviously want to be paying for them. But the way you can use Google Scholar, it could be that you'll be lucky and hit on a journal that decided to make its contents available for free, in which case, great. But if you run into that problem of hitting that firewall and they start asking you for money to look at something, what you can do is write down the author and title of the article, and the journal that it appeared in. If you go back to the databases, go back to this page here, there is this locate journals and newspapers. Take the journal, the name of the journal where the article appeared. Click on this locate journals and newspapers, and if I wait long enough, it'll pull up the page. That page will let you search for the name of that journal. I didn't, and so suppose we found something in, I don't know, AACE, International Transactions, whatever that is. It'll list the database that covers that journal. So then you can click here, it'll bring you into that database, and you can search for the article using the author or the title of the article. Let's get into LexisNexis Academic. Once you click into the database, you are going to want to do probably going to need to do an advanced search. Some of the databases will let you specify author or title right in their initial search page. If you don't see any option like that, if you click advanced options, it will let you, well, it puts in the title here. It will let you specify somewhere the author and title. Maybe it won't here. Oh, no. It'll let you specify the date at least. Look up index terms. Well, it depends what database you get into. Many of them will give drop-down menus that specify the field that you're looking for, author or title. So we'll get out of that. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. There's a lot. I know there's a lot to sort of digest. But do, get into the databases, look around, see what they're like. If you're, especially if you're planning on transferring to a four-year school, or if you're currently enrolled in a four-year school, and you're going to be taking some more advanced courses where writing is required, in most upper-level courses, databases are going to be your main source of information. Your professors in junior and senior level courses or even maybe freshman level courses are not going to want you to just be putting in Google search results. They want you to use academic articles, also known as peer-reviewed articles. So this is going to be where you'll find them. Okay, get in, play around, use this exercise on finding and evaluating sources as a way to test out some of these, to do some exploration, and then I'm hoping in essays 3 and 4 that you'll be able to use the databases as well.